Hello and welcome to the 13th Impact Youth Devotional video on the book of Genesis. Today we're going to be looking at Genesis chapter 41 through 44. And where we pick up in chapter 41 is again with Joseph, the dreamer, the one who God had given him dreams in his youth about his family serving him. Remember that? And he just came out of chapter 40 where he interpreted the dreams for Pharaoh's cupbearer and the baker. And now it's in chapter 41 where it's Pharaoh of Egypt himself who's having dreams and nobody's able to interpret them. And God uses the way that he speaks through Joseph's dreams and interpreting dreams, to end up putting Joseph in this incredible position of being ruler of Egypt in a time of an incredible famine. And so God uses all these experiences that Joseph has had, putting him in prison, having him interpret the dreams of the baker and the cupbearer, so that eventually he would be put in contact with Pharaoh himself that would lead him to this incredible position of prominence. And it's in that position of prominence where Joseph actually allows Egypt to survive this incredible famine, this famine that takes away all the food from all the surrounding nations, including the land where his own family is from. And so in chapter 42, we see that his brothers have to go to Egypt because that's the only place that still has food. And Joseph sees them and he meets with them, but he doesn't tell them who he is. He doesn't show them anything. He simply says, "Don't you have another brother?" Which is actually Joseph's youngest brother and his own full biological brother of his mom and his own dad, who is Benjamin. And so he basically forces them to go get back and bring Benjamin to him so that he can see Benjamin. Unfortunately, Jacob, their father, really doesn't want Benjamin to go with them back on the second trip. Because as Jacob says, "I've already lost one of my two children that my most loved wife, Rachel, gave me. How I would be crushed if I lost my second child from my beloved wife, Rachel." But what we see here is that Judah is the one who steps in and says, "I will guarantee that this will not go bad and that I will guarantee his safety." And I think that it's really interesting that it's Judah who steps up and does that, because as I think I maybe mentioned before, is actually Judah who is the one of the sons of Jacob that Jesus comes through. Jesus' heritage goes from Jacob through Judah. And it's because we see Judah here as somebody who stands in to protect and to make a promise for. And I think that that's a foreshadowing of what Jesus does on behalf of all of our lives to make sure that we are sealed and delivered to our Heavenly Father. So that's one of these interesting Jesus tie-ins that you'll see as you're reading through all of this from chapter 41 to chapter 44. And ultimately in chapter 44, you see Joseph use a little trickery, big surprise, trickery in this family, to force the brothers to bring their father back so that he can see his own father, Jacob, whom he loves and he misses so much. Keep reading. You're 6 chapters away when you finish this reading. You're almost done, and the story is going to come to a great conclusion.